people in your cities?
I just can guess what was your question about.
Just stå här nu istället för att ta upp.
Jasminka?
Yes.
I was asking about the Censor's perspective on this project and on the work with young people. Can you just develop this a little bit from your point of view?
Thank you for repeating the question. As you know, and as you already mentioned, that we are the first organization established in Bosnia and Herzegovina, actually started in Tuzla with this issue of housing and living conditions in Bosnia. So we are both trying to cover at the moment minimum in the beginning Tuzla and Sarajevo, and working with youth, students, unemployed, tenants, board representatives, public managers, public housing managers, and institutions and organizations that are concerned of this very issue that is very hot in our country. For the students and very young and youth population is extremely important to be involved in the topic, because it is a really life question. It is a question of their quality of life in the future, and as you know, unfortunately, Bosnia and Herzegovina is facing again a big brain drain. And among over 50% of unemployed persons in Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's a high percentage of very young people that are very highly qualified and educated, but still we are facing that brain drain. So I think that HOLICOB and the project that we are just starting in March 2014, as the organization Censor actually was born in Tuzla, is to attract young people to take destiny in their hands and to raise a voice, being aware, being educated, being involved, actively participated and contributing to all the issues and questions that housing and living conditions can concern of. So I think three wonderful, excellent, young, ambitious, intelligent people are with me, so it's better to leave and give space to them to speak about it afterwards.
Thank you, Jasminka. We pass the word to your delegation there to discuss what must it meant for you to be involved in this project, and so far, have you seen any new angles for your situation and your work?
Hello everybody, it's my pleasure to welcome you from Bosnia. The situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina is really clear. So formal education doesn't provide youth people enough competence and skills that they can take a role in society. So the role of HOLICOB project in Bosnia is really important. Through the several workshops that we did in Tuzla and Sarajevo, I heard from youth people that HOLICOB is the first project of this type in Bosnia. And that is really important to say when we are speaking about the situation in Bosnia. So there are no dialogues about housing and living conditions that are put in front of the students. So students are alone on that side. So we can say that HOLICOB started to open a dialogue between different players, between different stakeholders in the question of living and housing. And it's really important to say that it stressed a lot of people together, to work together on that question. I want to say that through the dialogue we heard that people are interested to take a role of all our activities. So me as a student, I have to say that situation in Bosnia is not clear about living and housing conditions. So students doesn't have enough space to live. Students want education, but they don't have place to live. So that's the purpose of this my first speech.
Hello everyone, my name is Adnan. I'm working as a lawyer in one company, but I was included as a legal advisor from the start, from the last year actually, on the project which concerning how to develop the legal network and how to compose everything, the composing experiences from Sweden and seeing what we need to do in Bosnia on that way. So when we came from the business trip from Sweden 3 months ago, I was very impressed. Actually, I brought some very strong impressions from Sweden. One of the most important things that I saw that is developed network between the tenants, between the students, between the government institutions, and for me it was very refreshing to see how everything is functioning actually. When I saw that, I immediately started to compare the situation in Bosnia, and I actually seeing that situation, I conclude that we are very lack of coordination, especially, and we are lack of institutions who can directly dealing with these problems. So actually I'm doing now with cooperation with Mr. Alexander from Sweden, from the project. We are trying to make target groups what we need to do to develop the legal issues. In my opinion, what we need to develop here is, especially in the link between the government and the students, is the offices who need to coordinate from the student side, and especially some maybe office in the government who is directly dealing with these problems. So maybe with this coordinating job, it will be more easy to develop the project. That's all for now. Maybe I will include some. Yeah, thank you.
Well, as a colleague said, the problem is huge, and from the student's perspective, and I'm a student too, I believe that nothing could change, but nowadays after workshops I've been through, I believe that we can do something about the students' rooms, dormitories, because when I came back from Sweden, I saw the dormitory where your students live, and I believe that if we organized well, we can form kind of organizations which will deal with problems that students have here in Bosnia, and something can change, and that's pretty much everything, because my colleagues already said, yeah.
Thank you very much. And Elaine, I have seen that you have been actively very much agree what has been said from Bosnia. Can you please develop your thoughts now about Bosnian Swedish situation, and how is it for you from the Swedish point of view working with students and young people about housing conditions?
Well, as we have already said, we in Sweden have a sort of a structure already, but we face the same problems as was mentioned. Like here in Uppsala, which is a big university city, the students that come are going to start the university don't have anywhere to live, because there's a shortage for housing for everyone, not just students. So that affects the young people a lot, because when you're done with your studies, you don't have anywhere to go. So here, there's a tendency to continue to study until you find another apartment, which is not a student apartment, and that affects the new students that come here because they don't have anywhere to go. So it's the same kind of problems that we are facing both in Sweden and in Bosnia, I think.
Yes, the main problem when I spoke last time with Mr. Alexander, he made me some interesting questions, and I made a questionnaire about that. So at the conclusion of that questionnaire, I made as a major problem in Bosnia in rental problems is that the tenants and the landlords don't pay the taxes for the rent. So the legal issue is that when they have legal problems, they can't easily solve it on the court because there are no contracts, no actually legal cover for that let's say for that side, from the Broad side. So it's very difficult to prove that they are the fact that you are living in that apartment, the fact that you are paying the taxes and the electricity and the water and everything. So when it comes to on the court, when it comes the case on the court, it's very difficult to prove that there are people who are living there. So when I made a little let's say I discovered something in the law. So the percentage of the tax is not higher than 10%. So when you paying for an apartment, for example, 150 euros per month, the tax for that contract is 10%. So it's not so high to pay it for, but the landlords are avoiding that because they are considering that it's too much money to pay the government. The government don't give the landlords the contribution for that. So the most of the problems is that. So the other problems are not so big. This one I think should be developed and it should be discussed on.
Yeah, but I won't agree that only problem is the lack of legislation, because we have some legislation that can support youth in the process of making an agreement, but we have to talk about non-informed youth, especially in Bosnia, that are not informed that they have a chance to work on housing and living conditions in their names. So the importance of activities with youth are on the priority list of our dealings in Bosnia. Also, we are speaking about non-informed public that can be involved through different civil society organizations that can fight for the rights and the better conditions of housing and living. Because if we will wait for the action from the government, we won't get it. So we have to take action in the name of youth through the Censor, through the HOLICOB and different types. And importance of youth exchange and youth cooperation between Swedish and Bosnian youth people are really welcome and really important.
That is a question that is very important to speak about and talk about, and I think that Censor and HOLICOB already started a kind of even formal cooperation with different partners and stakeholders, including both non-Olof Palme Center partners in Bosnia and Herzegovina that are involved, but also other CSOs and governmental institutions both in Tuzla and Sarajevo. In the researches that we've done as the initial phase of the project, we cooperated with relevant and respective ministries at both cantons of Tuzla and Sarajevo, with municipalities, with employment bureaus, with civil society organizations, but more importantly, that we are now establishing informal network with Olof Palme Center partners in Bosnia and Herzegovina, such as cult organization in Sarajevo, such as other local NGOs in Tuzla. So with advocacy work, with lobbying work, with making coalitions, with importing good models from colleagues from Livno, Olof Palme Center organization, Center for Civic Cooperation. I think we are making very strong network, and we are making very good synergy in our lobbying advocacy work, which is be at one of the priorities besides education and other models that we can import from our partners.
Johan, is there any cost to the email? You don't have to. I can repeat it if you just say it in Swedish.
What has been the main challenges?
We have a question here from the audience. You can't see them, but here is the microphone to say no.
Okay, hello. My name is Erica. I have a question. What has been the main challenges working together in this project? I realize no one of you have English as your mother tongue. Could it be that, or could it be the technical aspect of eating together like this today? Or could it be, like coming together about the aim of the project? Anything like that. Just interesting.
Thank you very much. Did you understand?
Yes. Hello, Erica, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to really emphasize and stress excellent cooperation and partnership with our friends from Sweden and Mrs. Margareta Eklund, that have been cooperating, not working, but cooperating and partnering since 2000 through different our international projects with our neighboring countries in Western Balkan. And yes, there are some physical and technical obstacles, but joining the main mission, the common vision and mission, I think even English is not a criteria to be involved in the project. And during the last study visit that we had with our wonderful hosts in Uppsala and Västerås, we also had the opportunity to get to know and learn about cultural differences and all other very interesting and challenging issues and sectors and fields that Bosnia and Herzegovina and Sweden can't be even compared to. But still we are so close if we put together our real challenges on the field. And keeping in mind our target groups, I think the language is very common.
Thank you, Jasminka. Polite as always.
That we will have a huge cooperation between Sweden and between Bosnia, and personally me and my colleagues will take concrete steps to establish very well youth exchange, youth projects, joint initiatives that can concrete work on this question. And I think that encourage that HOLICOB did between our two groups, between Swedish and Bosnian youth, is really important, and that in the future can have for a product one network that will work together on the projects and questions that are open in both countries, and that in reality we will have a concrete steps and concrete results that we can speak about on the next conference next year.
Thank you very much. And some more comments?
As I said before, I was very impressed by the build structure in Sweden. So this is my, let's say, wish, because this is a professional opinion by the lawyer. I don't see that so much. I don't see it in so much high in the future, because there are a lot of issues, that the little steps that we need to develop. But in my opinion, the first step by furthering this. The problems in Bosnia could be the lack of structure can be solved by the legalizing the contracts between landlords and the tenants with the rental contracts, because we need to gather all the statistics data so we can see the picture in the whole. So I think this in the future I will try to develop more and work more with, especially with my colleagues from HOLICOB in Sweden, Mr. Alexander, to deal with these concrete problems.
Well, wishes and goals are pretty much the same. I'm really looking forward to continue cooperate with students in Uppsala and the other cities, and in the future I wish that students could come to Bosnia to see where we live, how we live, and I think it would be great to work together in the future.
Thank you very much. We took that as an invitation.
Yes,
Of
yes,
course.
of course.
So, thank you very much for today. I will close the session now if there is not any more comments. And first of all, I will thank you, Erin in Uppsala and the delegation in Tuzla. It has been great to have you here. And for us, I think the technical situation has been perfect. We have felt that you have been with us. And thank you very much for your time and for your contribution for this seminar. And thank you also, Inga and Johan, for this. And hope to see you soon in Sarajevo or Uppsala or anywhere else.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.